So,
We have lots to share.
lots to share with you. Um, and I guess to put the whole thing in context, we're going to do a little bit of history, right? Because I think it's important. Um, if we jump in the way, way back machine and we go back to about 2 years ago, almost three now.
Yeah. Where are we at? July, so about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, about 2.5 years ago.
Almost, yes, almost 3.
hmm
You're right.
Almost three. We were traveling about doing what we do, and we were actually at a conference, right? We were at Tennessee? I think it
I
was
don't
Tennessee.
remember.
Yeah, anyway, big
I think
conference.
this was before Tennessee.
Was it before then?
We're talking about 2018.
Yeah, it's 2018. Yeah. Yeah, it was.
And we're gonna get to, this is why we're calling this ride or die, or crash and burn. There's
right.
a reason for this. So, do you want her to introduce us first?
You know, that would help. We were just
Okay.
assuming everybody watching this knows who we are and where we're from and what we do. So you may not know that.
Okay.
Maybe seeing us for the first time. So,
We are the Infinite Couple, Baba Richard and Sri Namaste Moore. Our purpose is to return men to the masculine, women to the feminine, and then men and women to each other in the creation of their legendary love and living their legacy with wealth, abundance, fulfillment, purpose, evolution, and consciousness. Yes, yes. So that's what we're here to do. We have been together for about 18 years. We have 8 adult children who are all amazing and awesome in their own right, and many, many, many spiritual children. So that's who we are. That's where you are. Our website is infinitecouple.com. And if you stay to the end, we will tag some of our people, some of our team, Infinite Life team. So if you want to find out more about us, what we do, and what we have to offer, we will definitely share that as well.
so here we are. And this is about 3 years ago. And for reasons I don't know, I was experiencing a lot of, it's like my arms, right? Initially, my arms swole up like Popeye size, really. And to the point where I couldn't even bend them good. And we didn't know why it happened. It just came like literally out of the blue. And so we went around to a lot of specialists. We went around and went to a lot of different doctors. And they, for the most part, were like, we could run some tests. We have no idea. What, you were going to say?
The rain has come.
Rain just
Beautiful.
started.
Beautiful. The only thing I was going to say is that we don't want any of you all to miss the reason why we're sharing this with you. There's a reason. Can I create a frame? There's a reason why we're sharing this with you at this time. So regardless of what happens with the weather, if we leave, if we pop out, we will be back. Okay? Because it's very important that we share this with you. We do not want you to miss the reason why we're sharing this with you. So please, we're going to encourage you. Don't send the little care emoji, because that's not why we're sharing it with you. So the little happy face with the heart, oh my gosh, I'm with you. Yeah, thanks for that, but no, that's not why we're sharing it with you. This is not a sob story. This is not a story for your support or for you to, oh, can I? It's not for any of that. So don't get distracted as far as why we are sharing this story with you. Stay present with it through your discomfort and all of your weirdness. Stay present. And don't get distracted by the story so that you miss why we're sharing it with you.
So, we went to a bunch of specialists, and nobody could really tell us what was going on. And so eventually, because it was starting to get worse, in that my skin literally was just these big blisters were coming up all over the place. And, running a low grade fever and that, and just feeling not good in a lot of different ways. So, ended up finding this one doctor, and he ran some tests, and he finally figured out what it was. These are not cued sound effects. We finally found out what it was, and we were so thankful for the diagnosis, because at least we knew what we were dealing with. And he was saying that there's something that's happening that's causing your body to, basically, your skin is your largest organ. And something is happening where there's a specific protein that is missing. And so that's why this is happening. And so what is happening is that this is going to keep going on. We're going to have to put you on some medication to try to make you feel better.
Now, this was in late 2018.
This is late 2018.
As you all know, we have been doing what we do for well over a decade. So some of you were around when this was occurring. Who was around? But yet, nobody knew about it.
No.
Because we didn't talk about it.
Right. And at that time, Sri Namaste asked me, we had to sit down and have one of these uncomfortable conversations that we always talk about, right? And the uncomfortable conversation was, we have started, doing some really cool things in the business. Business is starting to grow. What do you want to do? Because what they're telling you is that this is going to be extremely debilitating to you physically.
Yeah, he was
It's like,
already not feeling well.
Yeah, the condition itself is already something to deal with, but the medication that they put you on, it's like literally the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
Because the side effects from the medication are in many ways as bad as the cause, right?
Right. And we had already, those of you who are part of our tribe know that we're very naturopathic. So we had already tried all the herbs and Reiki and just all of the things. Okay, we had done all of the things, and it was time for some additional support in this manner. And we knew that this was the direction that we needed to go in, and that we didn't know if it was going to work, and if Baba was going to feel better, and how long that was going to take. And then what the side effects of the medication, we knew people who had been on that particular medication. We knew the effects of it, and how how others that we knew had responded to it. And so my question was, what do you want to do with the business? Do you want, at this point we were making, we had just started making 6 figures consistently a year. And things were fabulous, and we were getting ready to amp up. And so I went to Baba and I said, what do you want to do? Do you want to shut it down and do something completely different? Do you want to just keep doing what we're doing and just hold where we are? Or do you want to keep going forward with the plans that we had until this point, the plans that Baba had put in place for us, and as far as where he had told me that we were going and what he wanted us to focus on? Which one do you want?
Yeah. So when you asked me that, and between the two of us, I'm the visionary, right? So I'm looking between the now and the not yet and saying, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. This is how I want it to happen. And then, every now and then life throws you a curveball. And it's like, what do you want to do with this? How are we going to go forward? And so my response to her was, we stay the course. We are going to stay the course. We are going to do what is ours to do. We're going to make this business a success.
I have to talk about that.
Right?
Wish we had our mics.
Yeah, we're going to make this a success, and it's going to be. This is going to happen. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. So he said he wanted us to keep going forward and to hit that next goal, and beyond. Right. So he had already decided. Bob had already told me that his goal for us at that point was for us to have a 7-figure business. And again, at that point, we were in basically, early 6 figures, like 100K, 110K, 120K a year. So when he said that, I was like, okay. Now, for those of you who are relatively new to us, or maybe you just don't realize this, Baba is the leader of our family. Okay. He's the leader. He is the boss of me. Okay.
I am the boss of you.
And has been for the whole time we've been together. 18 years now and counting, right? He sets the tone. He sets the direction. And so those of you who are in our work know that we talk about how the masculine is the pattern creator. The masculine holds the pattern. The feminine makes the pattern into matter, makes the pattern matter, right? And so whatever he says is the pattern, that is how it goes. Period. End of story. Period. So that's important to know, because if you're new to us, then you may be running one of those previous programs that's like, well, yeah, but you as the wife, you're supposed to be like, well, no, because that's not what's good for you. That's not what you need, blah, blah, blah. And that's not the secret sauce to sustainable, healthy, legacy producing marriages, right? And so when he said we are going to keep doing what we're doing, in fact, we're going to do it more.
But here's the thing. It's like, and you've heard me say this periodically, that whenever you make a declaration like that, that the universe is always going to, in many ways, come back and ask you, are you sure? Are you sure about that? So, are you sure that this is what you really want to do? Now, at the time, back in those days, those of you who may have come to Quantum Grace, right? And Quantum Grace 1 or Quantum Grace 2, or seen any of the, we are always doing videos in our car and driving around and traveling and doing all of those things. You have seen our faces on camera, and you've seen us saying these things, and you have been, in situations where you've benefited from our teachings in a lot of different ways, right? But the are you sure that I was experiencing never came from this woman here. Once I said, this is what we're going to do, she was 100% like, absolutely, we're going to do this thing. So when I was experiencing, and these were times where most of my skin would be covered in blisters of one sort or another. And these are blisters that would raise to the surface, and they would go through a cycle where they would be extremely painful. And they would have to be drained in many cases. And then they would scab over, and that was a whole different situation. And having to, accommodate it in so many different ways. And then the side effects from the medication, where you talk about, weight gain, and I gained a ton of weight on this medication. Muscle weakness, shortness of breath, not being able to sleep at night, insomnia, brain fog, the list of these symptoms, and I perceive those as the universe's way of saying, are you sure this is what you want to do? And in those moments where she would be asleep and I'd be up all night because I couldn't sleep. And my answer back was absolutely. Absolutely, we're going to do this thing. Why? Because, a lot of times you don't have a choice in terms of what is happening to you. Your choice is in how you respond to it. And when you are in the middle of living out your legacy, when you're in the middle of doing that which is yours to do, when you are facing like boss level opposition, where it's like, well, how am I going to do this? And I would go, like when we went out to see the place where we were putting on an event. And they're like, well, we'll just walk you around the property. And having to look at that and say, okay, well, let me map this out, because I know I'm not good for more than 50 yards at a time. Then I'm going to have to stop and rest, or I can just pass out and lay there on the dirt. And being in those situations constantly, where it's like, it's incumbent upon me to get there early and set up and make sure that all of the recording equipment is working properly, because I need to basically get set up and be able to catch my breath and wipe the sweat off of myself before everybody comes in, because to everybody else it's just a regular morning. To me, the distance from the truck to the auditorium was a marathon, with all the physical stuff that entails. And so it's like, in each and every situation, when we're going around and we are, getting groceries, and, I don't know if the cart's holding me up or if I'm holding the cart up. Each one of those situations, she never wavered, she never faltered, she never was like, you know what, time out, you can't do this. She was 110% ride or die. And that's what it means, really, to be in that kind of situation, because I know for a fact that there are many people who wish they had a wife like this, that don't, that came up against struggles that were, relatively insignificant in comparison to what we were going through. And their stuff couldn't handle the strain, couldn't handle the weight. And so they ended up folding and not going forward. But what happened instead to us and for us is that during this time period, which is, and this wasn't a, I'm just feeling not so hot this weekend, but yeah, by Monday I should be okay. This is going through this and literally suffering through this for years.
Since 2018.
Since 2018.
Since 2018. Only just now getting to a point of being off of the medication. During this same period of time, people that we were really, really close to stopped being friends with us because we voted for Trump. Communities that we were a part of, we got rid of, we let them go. It was like, nope, not anymore, because we're not in alignment. And what's important here to understand is, we talk about, okay, so before I say that, let me give you guys some further context. When we talk about Baba leading our family and being the leader, and me being the supportive partner, me being the submissive wife, me being submissive to him and in surrender to him. This was, and some of you know about the initiations, okay, into that path. And if you don't, then you need to get into one of our programs, one of our dyad programs, so you can find out what that is. When Baba and I first started teaching, I did not speak. People thought I was shy.
Yes, yeah, that absolutely did.
Because I didn't talk. Okay? Baba, being the leader of our family and being the leader and doing what he does is just a part of how we do things. And the nature of the masculine, the feminine, this is why we talk about this, about how people think they understand what masculinity is, and they think that they understand what femininity is, and they think they understand what dominance is, and they think they understand what submission is. And quite frankly, the vast majority of what they think they understand is BS. They don't understand at all. What they understand, and what even, and this may be you, is what you think it's supposed to look like. But what something looks like and what it actually is are very, very different things. Anybody can look submissive. That doesn't require anything. Anyone can look dominant. That doesn't require anything. Anyone can look masculine. That doesn't require anything. Anyone can look feminine. That doesn't require anything. And in fact, the capacity and the tendency to look a thing but not be a thing is why so many marriages fail. Is why over 50% of women between the ages of 20 and 50 won't end up getting married or having children. Because everybody only knows how to make it look a certain way. And most of your teachers who are teaching on masculinity and femininity, and who are teaching on dominance and submission, all they know how to do is to teach you how to look and act. And what we are talking about is the being of it.
Right.
So the fundamental aspect of the masculine and the feminine is that he is the starting point, always. And where he is, I am not. And where he is not, I am. That is the masculine and the feminine in a nutshell.